What if one of the most powerful brain-boosting tools on Earth has been sitting quietly in your kitchen this entire time? What if a simple plant, one that ancient scholars used to tuck behind their ears, could sharpen your memory, lift your mental clarity, and even protect your brain from long-term decline? And what if modern science is finally catching up to what ancient civilizations already suspected? Today, on Around the All, we're diving into the extraordinary world of rosemary. Not just the herb you sprinkle on roasted potatoes, but a plant now backed by research for its surprising effects on memory, cognition, and brain health. But here's the twist. While rosemary can support the brain in remarkable ways, using too much or misusing it can actually harm your health. So, what's the truth? How much rosemary is helpful? And how much is too much? And what does the latest research really say about its effects on the human brain? Stay with me, because by the end of this deep dive, you'll know exactly how rosemary works, how to use it safely, and how to avoid the hidden risks that most people never hear about. Welcome to Around the Oar, where curiosity meets clarity. Rosemary, Rosmarinus officinalis, is one of the oldest medicinal and culinary herbs in human history. It's native to the Mediterranean, but today it grows worldwide, from backyard gardens to commercial farms. Its needle-like leaves and aromatic oils have been used for thousands of years in rituals, medicine, cooking, and even memory-enhancing traditions. But here's the fascinating part. Ancient Greeks believed rosemary strengthened memory. Students wore rosemary garlands during exams. Roman scholars burned rosemary in study rooms, and medieval healers used it in tonics for clearing the mind. For centuries, these practices were dismissed as folklore. But now, modern research is revealing that these ancient traditions may have been onto something profound. Studies show that rosemary's aroma can improve task accuracy and processing speed. Low doses of rosemary consumption have been linked to improved memory speed in older adults. And rosemary's chemical compounds, especially 1,8 cineole and carnosic acid, interact with the brain in ways that scientists are only beginning to understand. So what exactly is rosemary? Why does it have these effects? And how can you use it safely without crossing into harmful territory? Let's start at the beginning. What rosemary actually is. Rosemary is a woody evergreen herb belonging to the mint family, the same family as basil, sage, and oregano. Its leaves are thin, needle-like, and packed with aromatic oils. When rosemary blooms, its flowers can be white, pink, purple, or deep blue. But what makes rosemary truly special is its chemical composition. Inside each leaf are dozens of bioactive compounds, including 1,8 cineole, a terpene linked to improved memory and cognitive performance, carnosic acid, a powerful antioxidant and neuroprotective compound, rosmarinic acid, known for its anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial effects, camphor, stimulating and aromatic, flavonoids, plant compounds that support cellular health. These compounds don't just give rosemary its scent, they interact with the human body in measurable, scientifically documented ways. But before we get into the brain-boosting effects, let's explore rosemary's long history of use. Rosemary through history, a plant of memory and meaning. Across cultures, rosemary has symbolized remembrance, clarity, and protection. Ancient Greece, students wore rosemary garlands to enhance memory during study. Ancient Rome, rosemary was burned in temples and libraries for mental purification. Medieval Europe, it was used in weddings and funerals as a symbol of memory and loyalty. Traditional medicine, rosemary teas, oils, and tinctures were used for headaches, fatigue, and poor concentration. For centuries, these uses were anecdotal, meaningful, but not scientifically validated. But in the last 2 decades, researchers have begun testing rosemary's effects in controlled studies, and the results are intriguing. Why rosemary affects the brain. A preview. Before we dive deeper into part 2, here's a quick preview of what modern science has uncovered. 1. Rosemary aroma improves cognitive performance. In controlled studies, participants exposed to rosemary aroma performed visual processing and math tasks faster and more accurately. 2. Low-dose rosemary consumption improves memory speed. A study of older adults found that a low dose of dried rosemary powder improved memory speed. But interestingly, higher doses did not. 3. Rosemary protects brain cells from oxidative stress. Carnosic acid, one of rosemary's key compounds, is a potent antioxidant that shields neurons from damage linked to aging and Alzheimer's disease. 4. Rosemary interacts with neurotransmitters 1,8 cineole, helps prevent the breakdown of acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter essential for learning and memory. 5. Rosemary may reduce anxiety and improve sleep. Some studies suggest its aroma has calming effects, which indirectly support cognitive performance. These findings are not folklore. They're documented in peer-reviewed research. But rosemary is not a miracle cure, and it's not risk-free. In fact, using too much rosemary, especially in concentrated forms like essential oils, can be harmful. We'll explore that in depth in parts 3 and 4. Setting up the journey ahead. In the next sections, we'll explore how rosemary improves memory and cognition, what the research actually says, and what it doesn't, how to use rosemary safely, how much is too much, who should avoid rosemary entirely, the hidden risks of essential oils and high-dose supplements, and how to incorporate rosemary into your daily life without overdoing it. But before we move on, let me ask you something. If a simple plant could help your brain stay sharper for longer, would you use it? And more importantly, would you know how to use it safely? Let's find out. Part 2 will cover the science behind rosemary's cognitive effects, human studies on memory, accuracy, and processing speed, how rosemary's compounds interact with the brain, why low doses help and high doses don't. Sources. Very well mined. Does rosemary actually improve your memory and cognition? The conversation. Rosemary has been linked to better memory, lower anxiety, and even protection from Alzheimer's.